Here with me today to discuss our first topic, tax operating models, is Darren Beardsley, tax transformation and technology leader in EY's financial services organization. Welcome, Darren.
Thanks, Anne. Great to be with you.
Maybe we should just define what we're talking about. So we'd like to spend this 10 minutes focusing on tax operating models, where we are now, what companies should start to think about next and beyond. So maybe 12 months from now. So I'd like to start with just what are we talking about from a tax operating model, right? We're talking about, and you've done this for years, you've done it probably for over 20 years, Darren, is defining, really helping people with what are the processes, the people, and the data and technology components all connected and integrated into that connected tax operating model that really helps achieve the most efficient and effective processes for the tax organization and drives the value that they want from their particular tax organization.
Yeah, I think your definition was quite good. It really is focused on how do we operate in each of those dimensions, our people, our processes, our data and technology, and how each of those work synergistically with each other.
I think it's really important to just walk through, how do you define just the value in a connected tax group? Can you share us a little bit about what you're showing here on screen with this triangle and the connected tax value platform?
Yeah, absolutely. And there really are three ways that tax functions add value running through their operating model. Tax can have a big impact on the organization from a financial value perspective. So maximizing effective tax planning and protecting assets, financial value is critical. In addition to that, tax plays a strong role in risk management, not only tax risk, but also financial risk, operating risk, and in some cases, even reputational risk. And then the third dimension is cost and maintaining as much financial value as possible while maintaining effective risk management, but doing that in the most cost-efficient manner possible. Those really are the lens with which to look at any changes that we would make to the tax operating model.
So looking at now, next, and beyond for tax operating models and what clients are doing with their people, their processes, and their data and technology, what does the market look like right now?
There clearly have been significant challenges over the last couple of months due to COVID-19. Hopefully, all of us are staying safe and staying healthy. But even before the COVID-19, the last couple of months, there really have been a number of challenges pushing on the tax functions operating models. Before the crisis, we've been seeing a lot of cost pressures across organizations. We've seen limited talent pool as it relates to the right tax skill sets, as well as transformation initiatives that are even broader than tax. So those are some of the traditional challenges that we've seen overall. But more recently, there's been new market disruptors in terms of cloud computing, automation becoming more intelligent, sort of an explosion of data across the organization that tax needs to rationalize and work through. But also the way folks work. The gig economy really has had an impact on how we work together. And really, in the midst of this crisis, it's been quite an opportunity and a challenge for all of us to operate in this digital world.
So when you're talking about the data explosion, and especially around what some of the challenges are that people have already been dealing with, I know that you touched on there are transformational activities that are going on across an entire organization. And when tax isn't driving that, but data is at the center of creating efficiencies for tax, how do you see clients making best use of those transformational processes that are going on at the whole organization? And any suggestions for our clients out there?
Yeah, oftentimes tax is a key stakeholder in these initiatives, but oftentimes tax may not have a seat at the table at the beginning of a transformation initiative. And so we encourage our clients to get that to the table from a requirements perspective, but also opportunities for implementation of those initiatives. We find that tax in some ways is receiving data across the whole organization. And the granularity of data oftentimes is quite low. And so making sure that as the organization implements new technologies, new systems, and even new processes, making sure that also opportunity to more efficiently receive that information from the organization.
Darren, I agree with that for what people are facing now. The crisis certainly has added a additional element, like you said, with the cloud computing and everything needing to be digital. But a lot of the challenges that were there before are almost just heightened at this point. As we move kind of into next, which I would say would be anywhere defined from this June over the next month, let's say to 12 months, what do you think that the clients should be thinking about in terms of their tax operating model that people process in data and technology?
As I said earlier, there really has been significant business disruption. And amazingly, the feedback that we've been hearing across a lot of clients is that they've been very resilient through this process. A lot of investments have been made in collaboration tools. A lot of opportunities have been taken for digital cloud-based tax systems, centralization of data, and transparency from content management tools that help track status and workflow and across business processes. So I think it's been those organizations that have made, those kinds of investments that really are seeing that in some cases, even more productivity as folks are working remotely from home. I think from a next perspective, it really is an opportunity to take a look at what has worked well as what has been more challenging, hasn't worked as well, and incorporating that into the next few months and beyond in terms of how can that impact the operating model in a positive way. It creates more opportunities for resources across multi-geographic expanses. It provides opportunities for more flexibility for team members and skill sets, and identifying those ways of incorporating some of the new ways of working into the way we operate. The tax operating model could benefit from taking a look at how we've operated in this way and, plug gaps where there were challenges, but also incorporating some of the new ways of working into the operating model.
Agreed. I think that if clients are always talking about their tax operating model, but if they haven't made a significant kind of investment in some of those items that you talked about, then I'm seeing it become much more of a heightened reality of they need to do something about it sooner rather than later.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, let's, talk just a little bit about beyond, which is, okay, people are seeming to be operating all right, but having to do everything digitally, looking into technology as well as looking into gig resources, their staffing models. I think people are critically focused on that and start to want to change that. What about 12 months from now, kind of beyond? Any best practices that clients are following, or just things that you recommend we should make sure that our clients are thinking about?
Yeah, that's a good question, Anne. I think there's two aspects to this. One is taking a look at the organization in terms of the success of operating effectively in this time. And all of our clients should continue to work and operate in a way that stays safe and healthy as we start to come out of this over the next few months. But I also think we will see a return to evaluating the operating model in the context of these other market disruptors that were considerations prior to COVID-19, and really taking both of those and doing essentially a health check of the organization, the tax function, assessing and evaluating, are there things that we could do to drive more value to the organization, can continue effective risk management and tighten up controls. And then finally, doing that in the most cost-efficient manner retains talent through the future. And so I think there is an opportunity to, as we get through this, to come back together and really add things up and identify, how can we continue to add more value in the organization beyond.
Okay, I agree with everything you're saying, and hopefully that gave people a lot to think about. If they're seeing some of the challenges that you talked about right now, you're not alone. Certainly, everybody's going through some of those challenges for sure in terms of talent and digitally working. If you're starting to look at your tax operating model, what are your people doing? How are your processes organized? What data and technology initiatives are going on just for tax and then within the firm? And then starting to think more holistically towards the future. That's absolutely what I heard today from you talking about tax operating models. And hopefully that gave our clients a lot to think about as they start to consider kind of what their connected tax platform is for their organization. Anything else you want to add, Darren?
No, I think this has been great. I appreciate you including me in the series, and thank you to everybody.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for sharing your insights on tax operating models. Thank you all for listening, and stay connected with us on EY.com for future editions of this series and all of our thought leadership. For questions, please contact your EY relationship partner, Darren or me.